Hello and welcome to Smash Piano. I'm your host Brendan Fox, and today's the day I've been waiting for a while, and that is the day that we're going to do Beethoven's Sonata Pathétique. This is a really important piece in my life. It's one of the key pieces that kind of got me into classical music and really made me start taking my piano lessons seriously. I think I first heard it as this like little bit of music in the video game Where in the USA is Carmen Sandiego. In that game, you like travel between states a lot, and you have like these little bits of music that plays while you're traveling. And one of those excerpts was this. And I remember like asking my dad as he walked by the computer one time while that was playing. I was like, "Do you know what this music is?" And he said, "Oh yeah, it's like Beethoven's Sonata Pathétique." And then he goes over to the piano and finds the music and starts playing it because he had like played it as a kid. And I was just so like wowed by this music and became kind of obsessed with it. And that became the sonata that I played for my college auditions. Little cliche maybe because it's so like popular, but I mean, it just represents so much of like the kind of dark, brooding artist, aesthetic, and I just always loved playing it like through high school when I had these kind of deep kind of emo moods. Yeah, so it's really important to me, and let's talk about, well, before we even talk about the music, one thing that's important to consider here is like it's also kind of the beginning of Beethoven's like hero arc with his developing deafness. I did a little research on this recently, and there's like so many theories about how he went deaf and when he went deaf. And I guess like one of the likely causes is that he was drinking a lot of wine. And in those days, cheap wine was like, had like lead added for some reason, which just seems like unthinkable today. So he was consuming lots of lead, and lead can lead to like deterioration of your hearing. So he started getting like some kind of tinnitus, like buzzing noises and high pitches, and that developed into some real like hearing loss. So but yeah, like the real symptoms started around 1798, which is when this piece was written. So you can kind of hear this just like lamenting like sense of like dramatic struggle and his like awareness of where this was taking his life. He's a composer, he's a pianist. What's he going to do if he loses his hearing? And of course, he absolutely conquered it. It's still like the craziest, most like miraculous story in the history of music, how he still wrote the music that he did. It's just unbelievable. So I could go on and on about this piece, but I just think like it's one of those pieces that if you encounter it early in life as a musician, I feel like it just is so powerful in its effect to like the way it makes you think about music and about artists, and it's just inspiring. Like I said, it's kind of the reason I started taking piano seriously. All right, let's look at the score. Oh boy. So first movement. First of all, you see this heading, Sonata Pathétique, at the top. On my Henle score, it says Grande Sonata Pathétique. And that Pathétique title was given by his publisher, but he approved it. I know there are some like sonata nicknames that he didn't really approve, but this one he did. And Pathétique in general refers to that kind of like tragic, style. And it's been given to a couple other pieces like Tchaikovsky, Pathétique Symphony, and so on. So at the outset here, we have this very slow, dotted rhythm opening. It's kind of tragic, dramatic. And then we go into more of like an operatic sense here. Like this melody is broken up with these like it's like a dialogue, back and forth, kind of plaintive, and then this kind of like angry response, and then we go up into these little delicate phrases that kind of resolve unexpectedly, and then we plunge down here. Lately, as I've been playing this and thinking about it, I remember always wanting to like kind of orchestrate this as kind of a violin concerto or a viola concerto, maybe. There's so many aspects of this that I think would be absolutely awesome in that capacity. Anyway, so after this kind of suspenseful fermata, we go into this super badass Allegro. It just kind of rises up in a wave and then comes down, rises up in another wave and comes down. It's just like these surges of emotion here. And then these kind of little episodes, then developing more of this theme. And this kind of B theme, this is a really like pathétique. When I think of like the word pathétique, it's this kind of more like delicate, sadness more than like a dramatic. And I really feel that here. You kind of have like this melody up here, and then it jumps down to the bass for these kind of little asides. I really love the way this is all constructed. Love the harmonies, this kind of deepening drama. And then this kind of transition into the close, it's just like, it's so, it has such a forward motion. It's like very propulsive. I always love playing this. It's really, really fun. And we kind of get to this heroic E flat resolution here. It's like everything might be okay after all, Now this this development is something else. I mean, it is just go away. So exciting. Every moment of it, because we get this like new statement of the opening in a new key, and then some really sly, unexpected new harmonies. And then this is just like, I mean, I almost don't even think of it as a development. It just kind of feels like the narrative continuing. But it is. I mean, we get more of the, sorry, I can't really talk today. Material we've seen before. And then we get into this kind of like mysterious, almost kind of villainous stuff with these like snaky little phrases coming up from the bass. And then again, we kind of plunge down, really dark here. And this is really like just like roiling dissonance here. And then we jump up into kind of a big dramatic statement. More roiling dissonance, and then we get this kind of cadenza thing here. If this was my violin concerto, this would absolutely be a little violin cadenza, of course taken over by some other instruments when it gets too low. And then we're off to the races again with the Allegro theme, some new harmonies here, and then we get into the B theme in a new key. And now we get this sort of closing material, but in a minor key. It's that kind of like inevitability of C minor. It just has that gravity, This is when it really starts to feel tragic. Taking us all the way to one more fermata. And the dramatic opening comes back again. And I forgot to mention some of the dissonances in this material before, but here we have like the biggest dissonant moment of the whole movement. And then there's our coda. Yeah, it's such an amazing first movement. Just completely edge of your seat the whole time. And now following that movement, which is so kind of progressive and epic, sometimes this feels a little bit like a letdown. Like I was expecting a really deep, slow movement, kind of like from the 7th Sonata, just something really deep and serious. But instead what he gives us is kind of a respite from the high drama, and he just has like a really songful melody. Everyone knows this melody. It's great to play and just kind of sing the legato line. I don't really need to say much about this. It's very well known, and yeah, it's a great sort of cavatina, I guess. Just very melodic. Okay, then this rondo. I've never been a huge fan of this rondo. I just feel like the piece needs a little more weight in the finale, and this is just a little too lightweight. It's still got the C minor, it's still got some nice tunes, but I don't know. I'm just not really into it, especially this kind of like B material with these little triplets. It just doesn't do much. And then, we got our little episodes, always suggesting a little more C minor than we actually get. And then there's this kind of boring like episode here. It just feels so lazy. I mean, maybe it's kind of this like tranquility that he's searching for. This is kind of cool though. This like build up in C minor, and yeah, I don't know. Not a whole lot to say about this movement. Even like the closing, like these phrases don't really relate to the other material. I just feel like he could have thought of a little better way to end this. But, it is what it is. It is the Sonata Pathétique. It's a great piece. It's a popular piece. And it's probably the Beethoven sonata that I can play the best because I've lived with it for a very, very long time. So I think I will be able to do it justice today. So here we go. So there you go, Sonata Pathétique. In the first movement, you probably heard a lot of sloppiness in those ascending chords. Despite me saying earlier that I could probably play this better than any Beethoven sonata, I don't know, man. Like those those chords, like when I would learn them as a kid, I just used this really bad fingering on some of them, and it's been really hard to unlearn that. Trying to fix it this week, but man, those old habits die hard. So I don't know. With more work, maybe I can correct it for good and just feel secure playing that. Yeah, but I think the other movements went well, and yeah, there it is. It's just like such a blast from the past. Whenever I play it, I feel like I'm suddenly that kid again, like trying to impress, playing a little too fast sometimes, and just like rocking out with this dark C minor piece. So there it is. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.